So, hey, I just stumbled across something a lot of us missed when Nintendo first did their little Treehouse reveal tour of the new things coming to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. We were also caught up in things, I think, that this tiny detail slipped right under almost everybody's radar. But it seems like the Switch 2 editions of these games is going to, in the words of at least one place I saw this reported, fix the weapon durability issue in this game. Now, I have a very large problem with calling the weapon durability system in these games an issue, and calling these changes to it that are coming a fix is just, well, it's deliberately provocative, isn't it? It's not broken, it doesn't need a fix, it works exactly as it was designed, and it's good. But let's have a chat about it. Hello again, I am Blunty, and firstly, what you're seeing on the screen right now, obviously it's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and specifically in the side-by-side you're looking at, on the left you're seeing native Nintendo Switch gameplay, fully up-to-date version 1.6 of course, in docked mode on a regular old Nintendo Switch, or as I'm sure we'll be calling it from now on for the sake of clarity, the Switch 1. On the right, that is not the Switch 2 edition gameplay. That's the Switch 1 version again, except I'm using my Australian powers of emu summoning to make it run at 4K, if you catch my drift there, mates. But unlike the actual for realsies Switch 2 edition version we'll be getting in June with the launch of Nintendo's new console, there's nothing else but that internal upscaling to 4K going on. No tweaks to the textures, no enhancement of the visuals, draw distance changes and whatnot that seem to all be present in the Switch 2 editions based on the few glimpses of them we've had so far from Nintendo. And while I could run the Emu Enchanted version at 60 FPS if I cast the correct additional spell upon it, I didn't actually bother with that for this. So while the Switch 2 edition also will run at 60 FPS, in this case you're looking at both of them running at 30. I recorded this stuff purely for my own curiosity, just to get a bead on the visual difference a pure upscale would do to this game, and give me one more fresh point of reference for comparisons once we do get the update patch for Switch 2. Because I, like most of us, am very curious about what's going to go on there. Now personally, while the upgrade in clarity is quite noticeable and very welcome, I don't think it makes the game any better to play. Like, it doesn't make the game more fun, just makes it slightly nicer to look at. However, once upon a time, I did cast the special additional Emu Enchantment spell to make it run at 60 FPS, and that does make a large difference in how the game feels to play. So of all the things that the Switch 2 edition patches will bring, it's the frame rate enhancements that I find most valuable. And I'm looking forward to most, while using this all as an excuse to start fresh replays of these superbly fun games, which took me by surprise all those years back at Switch launch. Well, Breath of the Wild took me by surprise at Switch 1 launch. I was a little more ready for Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, fun fact, I didn't expect to like Breath of the Wild. The only reason I got it at launch at all was because it was the best option of the launch games I thought would be most useful for content and stuff. But yeah, it turns out I friggin' love the game. Now then, let's get back to that weapon durability malarkey, talking about loving the game. Of course, for those of us who were there back in the days of old, in the crisp and early days of March in the year 2017, one of the biggest sources of discourse in the Zelda community was the controversy surrounding the weapon durability. Every sword, every axe, every spear, every boomerang, every single melee and throwable weapon, every shield and every bow would inevitably shatter and explode in our hands after a preset amount of durability was used up on it, and there was nothing you could do about it. There was, of course, one exception, but if I have to explain that to you, well, you should have played this game. It's good. Play it on Switch 2. It's good. Now, many, of course, found this frustrating and annoying and gnashed their teeth and shook their fists at the sky very furiously indeed, claiming that they hated it or that it verged on ruining the game for them. And while at first I was a little put off by it, it didn't actually take me long before I found the joy in it. It did something almost no other action RPG of this type I'd ever played did to me. It made me enjoy being quote-unquote forced to constantly switch to different weapons, to think about where and when I should be using my favorite weapons, or the most powerful ones, or at the very least my favorite weapon types. Historically, on other games, you'd just be, progressively getting more powerful weapons, replacing the older ones, or, upgrade the existing ones to more powerful versions, and you'd stick with pretty much one favorite weapon, maybe two weapons for your whole playthrough, just getting stronger and stronger the whole time. Just letting that power creep happen without ever changing up your playstyle much, or even thinking about it. Eventually just getting so powerful you'd face roll everything. This game, though, these games, I was always cycling through not just different weapons, but different combat styles for different weapon types, thinking a lot more about the tactics and combinations of weapons and item uses, of combat styles and approaches to different types of enemies. Deliberately hunting down certain types of enemies because I know they would drop certain types of weapons. It was super fun and very engaging. And very quickly, my weapons shattering felt less like a punishment and more like an opportunity. Very few other games, even those with their own weapon durability systems, ever made me feel like this. Mostly when your weapon breaks, it's a feeling of inconvenience. And then you've got the chore to repair or rebuild it or replace it or whatever. But somehow, in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, there's a little bit of that classic, quote-unquote Nintendo magic going on. They made this event feel not like a crisis, but a crisis-tunity, in the words of Homer Simpson. So, fixing that system isn't something I feel would benefit the game. It works fantastically. Doesn't need fixing. However, as I said in the opening, Nintendo have been fiddling with it in a way that at least a couple of people I've seen calling it a fix. One of the new Switch 2 Edition features that the games are getting is a companion app, which does a few things. It can be a GPS helping guide you around. It can track various things for you, like how often you're using Amiibo, and even giving you bonus Amiibo uses if you use them more than 5 times or something like that. It can deliver extra content, like those new voice memory things, which those should be in the damn game, but whatever. But of note to us on this particular topic of weapons is the daily login bonus thing, where it's RNGing up some rando rewards for you on a daily cycling basis. Various meal bonuses or free heals can drop and whatnot. And seemingly, first spotted by a YouTuber called Zeltic, equipment repairs. So that's new. And far from fixing the weapon durability problem, I think it's a very interesting thing. Now, if you do have a very favorite weapon, your precious weapon, you might just want to keep it in its, hey, I'm going to break soon, red warning flashing lights status until you can get this to roll. And then you can repair it and keep using it all over again. You'd have to sacrifice a precious weapons inventory slot to keep it around for that, and hope for RNG to bless you with this repair item. And it seems these bonuses from the daily roll drops are an item you can use at will. You just keep it in your inventory until you're ready to use it. So you could potentially keep this repair item for days, possibly. I don't know whether re-rolling a daily bonus would overwrite it or not. Probably they're right. But yeah, you could keep it until you needed it. So in a small, weird way, it actually adds another layer of strategy around how and when you use your best and favorite weapons. So far from fixing, or indeed breaking, the weapons durability system, it adds just a little extra to it, which could indeed be a bit of fun if you plan for it carefully. I also wonder if they'll add this as a potential drop from regular Amiibo scanning, or indeed add it to the drop table of any new Amiibos they're releasing or something, because that feels a pretty Nintendo thing to do, doesn't it? Release a new Amiibo that specially drops this repair thing. Yeah, that'll help sell those. And of course, I'm almost certain, very quickly, some clever buggers who do all that speedrunning malarkey glitch run stuff will find a way to glitch this thing into spawning, or perhaps endlessly duplicate it, or trick the system into multiple uses of it, or, something along those lines. There are some truly nutty things these people have figured out how to do with various glitches and exploits of this game. But yeah, small thing in the end. I thought it was interesting, and also gave me an excuse to share this side-by-side native versus 4K stuff I recorded, which, like I said, I did this just for me, just for my own curiosity, and just for a reference point for the actual Switch 2 editions. Never intended to upload it at all, but hey, useful for background for this video at least, and hopefully you find it very interesting anyway. Thank you for watching. I am Bloody. Thank you as always to the patrons, and we'll catch you next time.